is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends. And we are here day one for the peasants of WSOP!
Woo! Let's go! That's it. Yeah. Day one was for those high rollers yesterday. Fuck all that.
Today's the real day one.
This is the day one, baby. Let's go.
Today's the day one. You have 1,200 people already in Paris. It's popping, man.
There's 1,200 people already playing?
Already in the mystery bounty.
God,
Shit
I got to get down there.
Popping.
All right, so thanks for joining us, everybody. I got to get out of here. And got as many big buns as I possibly can.
Man, I really don't know if I'm going to step foot in the Paris again.
Oh, Jesus, this guy.
Here we go. That was so quick.
I think it's over. I think it's over for me.
Dusty motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yo, you busted a bullet in the 25K. Whatever, man.
That did it for me, man. That is not my arena.
I mean, you were just in a battle. You know, you lost the battle.
It wasn't even that. I didn't feel like, you know what? You're right. I was in a battle and I was naked and unarmed.
I mean, that's fine. You know, sometimes you just walk in there and, you know, you just gotta, you get jumped.
We're like, Berkey gonna fire a second bullet. He's like, no, man, these tournaments are tough. It's really good, man. I don't think I know how to play tournaments anymore. I'm just going to stick to the cash games.
Honestly, like, I did not. I mean, granted, I was dealt out when we were deep, which made it really annoying, but I was also at a tough table, so I didn't care.
Yeah,
my original table draw was me, Ike, Makita, Hendricks, Brewer, Lewis, and then Lewis got replaced by Nacho. And man, there was somebody else at the table that was good that I'm forgetting. No, I already said Makita.
Ike?
I said Ike. Anyway, it wasn't like it was a good spot. And the sick thing is like a third of the field was Rex, and we just had none of them. But I did have a couple good table draws throughout, and I mean, I was a lot shorter once I was getting at better tables. But like, bro, what are you guys doing off 30?
What do you mean? You're looking to get it in.
No, that's the thing is you're not. It's like this weird mix of like sometimes you just need to be all in pre, and then other times you just need to play 4 streets.
Yeah.
That's life, man.
Right. I don't know how to like. I play a game where 3 hands are willing to put all the money in pre-flop. Outside of those 3 hands, everything else is just bobbing and weaving. You know, you're doing some fuck shit. I got a suited hand that's a high-low, so I'm going to try to bluff this guy before the flop, and then when I make equity, we run it.
So, like, in MMA terms, it's basically like cash is like a featherweight fight, and because it's never a knockout there, really. But, like, MTTs, it's like a heavyweight slugfest.
Have you been watching poker at all?
I don't know. I don't like that analogy. I think the analogy is like tournament poker is, let's say you're a solid 7, and you go and hit on a 9.5 and a 10. You can go to the bar, you can feel yourself, and you can go talk to her, and you know what? 99 out of 100 times, it's not going to go well. But that one time...
Yeah, she might be a little drunk.
You're good. Now, cash, on the other hand, you go hit on a bunch of 6s. You get about a 50-60% ratio.
Oh, God.
Papa, what is lighting you today?
Why? Do I look...
Very
yellow?
Very yellow. Yeah.
I got this nice big yellow.
Oh, it's I see. It's the non-studio light.
Correct.
we stick him in the corner. Yeah, we stick him in the corner of the basement
and give him yellow light.
We give him yellow lights. Just.
I mean,
but wouldn't you agree that's a better analogy?
I think that's fantastic.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
But I can't believe you're not shooting for the 9 or the 10. Jesus Christ, my God, you got to get out there, man. The millions is coming.
Plucking that $1 million bounty,
man.
Baby.
I just realized that what you're really going for is that gold chest, right?
Right, yeah. So it looks like the bounties will start on day 2, which I think we're going to be down to about 5% of the field.
Wow,
that sucks.
So I'm thinking, because I remember from last year the same sort of structure. I think you got into the money right around level 17, which is 15% of the field, and then you play another 5 levels after that. So we're looking at
5 a.m.
Yeah, we're looking at 5 a.m.
That's
But
what I
maybe
hear.
in between, somewhere between like 5 to 7% of the field will be left. But then the real fun happens,
Yeah,
right?
you
If
want
you can
those-
get to that 5 to 7% of the field, now you get those bounties.
What time does Max Late Reg end?
5 o'clock.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
You guys are a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Tournament started
So-
at 10.
This is a goddamn joke.
Why?
So why?
5 p.m. Like
5
shit's just getting parted. Some of us are just waking up. The cash game is just getting off. I want to be able to
12
like.
levels, bro.
Come on, man. Like I want to be able to max late reg at like 9.
Yeah.
Fire my 10 blinds in the middle and pray.
You'll have 10 blinds at that point.
Yeah, it's at 5 p.m. I'm gonna have 12 hours of play left. Not here for that.
Right. So every bounty is $1,000 at least.
At least.
Pluck a bounty, it's $1,000. I guess there's like an iPad or something. You press a button.
Yeah.
And then it pops up. It's either gonna be like 2,500 or 5,000 or gold chest. And that's what you want. You want the gold chest. You get the gold chest, you're guaranteed 10,000. And you go up to the gold chest and you pull it out. It's gonna be at least 10,000, or it could be a lot of zeros on there. $1 million.
It's an exciting event. I love these things. I think that they're really great for poker.
Oh, they're so
I think
good.
they're like great.
They're not fucking great when Glads pulls the goddamn million.
He's not going to pull it again this
That's
year.
all I gotta say. Sorry,
Right.
Glads. I like
He's
you
not
and
gonna
all,
pull it
but
again
you're
this
just
year,
not allowed to
right?
pull it. You know.
That was not the feel good story. We were all-
Helmuth is going to pull it this year.
Oh God. Talk about
the
being-
fact that good players even make the fucking money, let alone get to the bounty stage,
Well,
is
you
so
see,
beyond
Berk,
me.
What they do is they go down to the goddamn, I almost said Rio. They go down to Paris and they fucking sign up for the tournament. And then they play and they get chips. And then that's how they get to pluck it.
Shut up. Shut up. This you have to be in it to win it
You gotta
mindset.
be in it. Well, I mean, if you're not in it, can you win it?
No, but
There
you
you
know,
go. Case solved.
There
Bang.
you go. Bing bang.
But I'll put my results of not playing it versus your results of being in it.
Right, of course.
Any
yes.
day.
Okay, yeah, your EV
Whatever.
is much higher in the cash games, and you should be in the cash games. But you know,
No, I'm
you're
not.
not gonna
I-
pluck. You're not gonna pluck a fucking yeah.
I listen. I was trying to say that this was a great event until you started to shame me with like you got to be in it to win it bullshit, and now I'm coming down on you.
Well, you're wrong. So how about
Yeah,
that?
you're just
You know?
wrong.
I think
You're
it's-
just wrong.
Hit him. Tell him.
What are we queuing up?
I don't know.
He's trying to get Glads pulling the bounty.
The thing is I never know if only we hear it, or if the audience also hears it. So
Hey
like,
man,
I don't,
this is tough back here.
I don't know if I need to like slap Guapo's hand or just let him do his thing. You know?
Good.
Reduce the tortilla.
Just let him cook. Let the man cook.
It's a good event, bro.
I mean,
It's not a good event. It's a good event for poker.
Right.
It's not a good event to play. It's fucking hell. Okay? No. If you want to walk through hell at the chance for heaven, God bless you. I think that is a noble path.
I just want to walk the hell to see how it's like. So I'm going to be out down there in like 45 to 50 minutes.
Yeah. Look.
You know, you got to see what hell looks like sometimes. You just got to know what it looks
I have a day off today. I have a choice to make. I could go play this hellscape or finish my course for the upcoming month of June.
So I'll see you at a month of June. That's like
we have 2 days.
No,
One
you
day.
don't.
We have 1 day. Tomorrow.
12 hours.
No, the course will be out mid-June, I think. And I'm going to do the responsible thing because, first of all, it actually sounds more appealing to me than going to play it. But secondly, it's going to be a great course. It's going to teach everybody how to think about game planning whenever you're going into study. And I think that as I'm building this out, I realize that this is something that I've never had. Like, I've never had that framework. I've built my own, but like, I've never had somebody show me a framework for like, okay, this is how you should approach study. And I realized that like, I just pick and choose and grab bits and pieces from other people. Like, you know, whenever we were prepping for the heads up, it was like, talk to K-Rab, get a little bit of like what he does, talk to Landon, hear about how his process was. And it's like, that doesn't sound fun to me. This sounds a little bit better. We'll do all these things. And I realized that when you're just like grabbing from thin air all the time, you might miss some things. You know, we have some blind spots. We're a little lazy about some stuff. It's like going to the gym and not getting a trainer. So hopefully this course will provide a little bit of framework for everybody out there who's struggling a bit, trying to figure out their study.
Is it about tournaments?
No. Well, it can be applied to tour. It can be applied to anything. Honestly, I should take my own goddamn advice and figure out how to play tournaments better.
Do you think you'll ever get the tournament bug back?
No.
Like, you think it's gone forever?
I
or do you
think-
think like
Dude,
down the road you might just be like, I
How could you
I
not
made
have
so
the
much
bug?
money playing cash. It's not fulfilling to me anymore, and I'm just going to.
You know, it's
go
it's
for the
unfortunate
glory.
because this is a fantastic segue, and I still need to plug our sponsor. But
I was trying to get there too. I was gonna push
well,
it.
I was literally about to, but this is a great segue. I can't tell you how little tournaments appeal to me now, and I never understood anybody who felt that way, because the idea of a huge score is just always appealing, always. But I just watched a man win $3 million last night playing a fucking game that I'm much better at.
Right.
And it's just like,
Well, that's the thing.
The high side for cash has started to rival MTTs.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think high rollers are just like beyond the scope of anything that I'll ever have interest in.
Yeah, and that's why you see why tournaments are so popular right now, because the majority of the people that play poker in general don't have that opportunity or don't have
Right.
that chance.
Right.
This is the only way they can get that 6-figure, 7-figure
Right. The
score.
people you're targeting when you put $1 million bounty event like this out for a, $1,000 buy-in?
Yep.
Yeah, the people you're targeting are people who play 2-5, where the
Right.
biggest win is going to be a couple $1,000s.
Right, exactly.
So it's like this is their shot at having life-changing money, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
I can win $1 million in other ways. I literally just won $1 million playing a guy one-on-one. Like,
Right.
it just
You plucked the airball bounty.
it ruined. Yeah. It just absolutely fucking ruined my desire to want even the main event.
Yeah.
Which is insane,
That is
man.
insane.
It's insane, but it just doesn't have the same allure because I understand the probability of me winning it is so
Yeah.
low, and that 10 million is just like a pipe dream.
Dude, if you can't get up for one tournament a year where it's 10 million to first, maybe 12 this year, then and it's like the glory.
You know what I don't enjoy about it? I
championship.
don't enjoy exposing the areas that I already confidently know I'm weak.
Yeah.
I have a high degree of
Everybody already
confidence.
knows it. You've been telling us how bad
Right.
you are at tournaments for
Like
how
I have a
long
high
now.
degree of confidence that I am a weak tournament player. So just like willingly entering the field seems really stupid.
Nah, well, I mean, maybe the 25Ks, but the 10K
No,
main
of
event.
course. Like, look, I'm going to end up playing a prelim at some point, like
Right.
a 2K or 1500 or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's going to be a party. I was telling Conrad this today in the kitchen. I was like, man, you guys all forget how fucking lucky you are when the cap that you play is like a 3500, because we all just go to South Florida and play this WPT 3500 where there are 4,000 people in the event that don't have a fucking clue. And when I say, like, it's not an exaggeration. The difference between like high level MTT play and general MTT play is night and fucking day.
Oh, for sure.
Like, throw me in a prelim and just like your poker wits alone will rise you to the top 1
You keep
to 5% of the field.
You keep saying this, but you won't get in the prelim.
Because it's still not worth any money. When you go play the soft fields, you're making fucking $35 an hour. It's just useless. Like I'm in a paradox when it comes to MTTs of I'm nowhere near good enough to compete for stakes that matter, and where I'm probably able to dominate, the money just isn't. It's not worth a single moment of my time. And that's why I tried to get bracelet bets down, and I'm so fucking thankful I didn't. Because the only areas that I probably have an edge are 1,000+ man fields.
So, say you would have got the bracelet bet down.
I would have played everything but the Gladiator. I refused.
I was going to say, you would literally have played like every no limit event.
I would have refused to
under,
take it to that point.
not the
Somebody please give him 18-1. He'll take
18
it.
to no, I won't.
No, he won't.
After
he won't.
yesterday, no, I goddamn won't.
No.
18 to 1 is an insult to everybody who's good at MTTs.
What would you take?
25 to 1, and I think that like I'm taking the worst of it. Like we did a lot of math, and like 20 to 25 to 1 seems to be relatively fair based upon like how much of my schedule I play. But honestly, like everything's gonna turn into a turbo because I'm gonna max late reg a bunch of shit, and the area where I could probably close the gap the most is the post limbs, which are all mostly turbos.
But the terms would also have to be a lot. Like you're not going to do it for $1,000 bet. You're going to do it for like
Oh, if I could get like 50K down at 25-1, then yeah, I
Then you
would
would do it.
try really, really,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really hard.
What is that? 1.2.
No, $1 million, right? No, you're right. Wait,
I think it's 1.2.
yeah, 1.25.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so if I
Yeah.
got 40K down at 25.
Also, how is $35 an hour not good money?
That's right,
Rich,
Guapo.
bro. Come on.
That's right, Guapo. That's a lot of money, actually.
Fuck you.
And don't you forget it.
All right, moving on.
Oh, man. Well, the reason I said that was a good segue is because we were talking about large sums of money, and that will transition us into the Hustler game from last night. But before we do, I want to remind everybody that WPT Global, our sponsor for the month, is running a global spring event, a global spring festival for the rest of this week. Right now, it's their prime main event, 10 starting days between May 28th and June 4th. It's a $1,000 60 buy-in. I believe it's every day at 2 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys want to get on there and fire, if you're in a qualifying territory, a lot of overlays, a lot of value in this event. Everything I've heard, I haven't gotten a chance to get on there yet and play, but the rumors are that this is like playing poker in 2009. So I think that there's a ton of value to be had. If you guys are in a territory that qualifies, head on over to WPT Global. You guys can click the link in the description below. If you want to create an account for the first time, be sure to use Berkey as your sign-up code. That will help us as well as yourself. Moving on.
Shit was popping last night, huh?
Bro. That was the greatest fucking show on earth.
It really was.
I was so fucking wrong about what I thought yesterday was going to be.
Did you send Divas 1000 yet?
No. He'll get it though. Wait, who was the big loser? Doug?
900 and I don't know who it was, but
No way.
989,000.
I have to go back and look at the tape. I think we bet that someone would lose over $1 million.
No, you bet
I think
on
you
their
said win or lose, right?
Seven-figure swing.
Yeah.
I believe the words.
Okay, I can tell you that nobody said that for sure. Nobody said 7-figure swing.
Okay.
I think that there's a good chance we bet a winner would be over $1 million or a loser would be over $1 million. But
Correct. Yeah.
But if we didn't, if we just bet the loser,
But you did it.
how do you know?
Because
I'm almost certain you
Sarah-
said a win or loss of more than $1 million.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna fucking check the tape.
It's fine.
You guys are making it seem like this is just an absolute certainty, like as if we couldn't have just said the loss. Seems quite reasonable. But yeah, yesterday was fucking. I can't believe nobody lost over $1 million. That's crazy.
Nobody rebought.
Doug ended up losing over $1 million.
What did Wesley lose?
Off stream?
Oh, did he?
He lost. I think he said he lost like 900 and change, and then off stream he lost another 200 and change. It totaled out to be like 1.2 something.
Yeah.
How did Airball do?
He limped his way home. Not good, cuz. He doesn't look good, cuz. Yeah, I mean, we can talk a little bit about the characters of HCL and everything in a minute, but I guess like nobody lost over $1 million, but 3 people lost close, right?
Yeah.
So Airball lost like 850. Wesley must have lost somewhere in the same neighborhood,
Yep.
I assume.
Something like
And then
that.
Doug lost like 9 and change.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot.
So the big winner was Tom.
Tom might have been the only winner.
No.
And
No.
Rob. Tom and Rob.
Tom won.
Who's the guy that pulled off the big bluff?
He got whacked.
Oh, really?
He lost a $2.2 million pot to Wesley.
Ooh.
So I think he lost like 600 or 700. Bob lost 400 or 500. Rob won, I think, 7 and change, and then Hands won small. I think
I
he
saw
won like 200.
Haralabob got cooler on his first hand. That's
He had Queens versus what?
Jacks and aces.
Yeah.
That was
Oh
pretty sick.
wow,
Yeah. First hand.
that is pretty sick. Yeah, man, what a show. So one thing I realize that is very critical to these stream games, and I think that it might be something that goes largely overlooked. But when we were talking about like day 1 and day 2, kind of not being the right lineup necessarily, too many wrecks. What I realize is that those were the nights I tuned in for the entire show. And I think it was an anticipation factor, like wanting something to happen because of the characters that were in the game. And, also it's just kind of pleasant to watch Rob and JRB, stuff like that. But it was background noise. I wasn't paying that close of attention, and nothing really came of it. What is so critical to these shows catching the favor that like last night's did. Last night broke pretty much every record that Hustler has. It's the clippable moments, because I didn't watch last night, but I know start to finish what happened.
Yeah, same.
Right? I literally watched it for 45 minutes at most, and it happened to be the best 45 minutes where where Haralabob, Durr, and Rob were like grilling the fuck out of Doug. That was quite entertaining to watch. But there were just like so many clippable moments last night where, and Hustler does a great job of this, where they tease it, right? Like huge pot incoming in the next 20 minutes or something like that. And then you watch for like, 20, 30 minutes somewhere along those lines. You catch all these intermediate moments of the show, which is important when you're running for, what was the total runtime yesterday? 12 hours? Something close?
I'm sure. It was a while.
They started at like 4 p.m., right? I think the final hand was somewhere around 3:30 or 4 o'clock. So like, right. Somewhere around like 11 to 12 hours stream.
Yeah.
You need, like, you're not going to hold 50,000 concurrent start to finish. That needs to be a lot of churn, right? So that means that you're actually getting like 150, 200,000 eyeballs unique throughout the course of the night. We're all tuning in, tuning out, tuning in, tuning out. So you need these moments that allow us to kind of catch the highlight reel in real time. Mm-hmm. It's what draws the eyeballs in, right? Last night brought that in spades. Just every few hours, anytime you thought that things were about to level off a little bit, something big happened. And I mean, like the Haralabob hand that you're talking about, that's almost an oversight, right? I mean, that
was so, yeah. Like,
that would have been a highlight hand from the first 3 nights.
Yeah, I wouldn't even thought about mentioning it today after like all the hands. Like. Right,
yeah. It's just like, I mean, this is where it all began, right? The Polk Bluff really set the tone for the night too. And it's kind of crazy because I think that they did a really smart thing by increasing the ante rather than the blinds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For a few reasons. Number one, everybody's not entirely sure how to adjust. And I think that just naturally creates a more chaotic environment. When people are pretty accustomed to what the natural adjustment is and their strategy doesn't have to change or morph in any capacity, the action doesn't really drive, right? But much like the stand-up game, where a lot of people just don't really know what the proper adjustments to it are, it creates a lot more chaos. Doug went in there with a mission. He said he was going to be the biggest winner or the biggest loser in HCO history. He came close to one of those, but didn't actually pull it off. Wesley almost ensured that he was the biggest loser in HCO history yesterday.
He played back-to-back 5-bet pot.
Bro, if he got so fucking lucky in that ace-7 hand, like his face just gets melted. I feel really bad too for Hank, because I don't know him at all. Like, he was a random. He was a wild card that popped into the lineup. A very, very important part of this lineup too.
Yeah.
Without him, I'm not so sure that things pop off the same way. Not even necessarily because he did that much. Like, of course, the bluff versus Doug that we just saw.
He's unknown.
Right, exactly. He's a wild card, and the default assumption is going to be that he's a wreck.
Yep.
And that in and of itself is going to be like, chumming the water a little bit.
My God, did he pull off one of the best bluffs in history?
That was so good.
Sick.
I fucking loved it. I was so I couldn't believe it. I was like, did he just do what I think he was going to do?
It was so good.
Before we the machine like this?
I don't know. Dude, I don't think so.
I was praying he jammed. I'm just saying, I'm like, please jam. Please jam.
So
just
sick.
fucking do it. And then he says all in. And I'm like, I can't believe it.
I think it's probably a pretty bad jam, to be honest.
Really?
Well, I don't think he gets there with that much Jack 10. Like, it's pretty optimistic for him to be peeling Jack 10 with backdoors. So he has like maybe in reality a couple combos. Yeah. Like, if he's too loose on flop, he has 3 combos of it. Yeah. So blocking Jack 10 isn't that important. I guess it's important from the standpoint that like you block Polk's Jack 10s, which he probably has in full. But in full is only 4 combos.
But like again, like you said, he's a wild card. You don't know, and nobody knows anything about him. He could just have a set like
that. So that's more important.
Yeah.
When you're bluffing there, I think you just want to have. Do you want to have set blockers? Probably because. Well, it's so weird. I talked about this hand a lot yesterday with a few friends, and it's very weird because. Like this is where depth really starts to cloud people in a big way, right? Doug's hand looks like a very obvious value bet on the end.
Yeah.
Right? Like just really not beat by much. Nobody really has Jack 10 here. 2 pair isn't very available on Queen 8, 4, 3, 9.
Yeah, it's just not there.
Right? It's like you just have to be against exactly Queen 9 for that to be the case, and there's only 2 combos. So it's just like all of this just
or 3 of diamonds.
All of this just seems like a very layup value bet. But then the question becomes, what calls you?
Yeah.
Right? You're betting 100 big blinds on the river. 200 big blinds on the river. What is supposed to bluff catch you? You block ace queen. You lose the queens. Kings would have 4-bet pre. That's not there.
Mm-hmm.
King queen is like pretty fucking optimistic at this point.
Yeah,
right?
It's 100 big blinds. So
Queen jack, queen 10 probably should just jam over calling, right? They block top set, which is really fucking critical, and they block Doug from having Jack 10, which is also really fucking critical. So it's like, what are you hoping to get called by?
Yeah, and it's like Hank's only value hands is like what, a set of 9. It's just sets. He
has all the sets. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
So he has all the sets, and that's the biggest problem is that when Doug value bets, he can't really ever have hands that block sets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's a 3-bet pot, so like technically he could have a hand like 9-8 suited or Queen 9 suited, but I don't think that they barrel the turn all that often. Maybe 8-9 does, maybe as a bluff turned into value on the end. So he has like 2 combos of 8-9, I guess, right? And then he has top set of queens. But you know, whatever, that's the nuts. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. So that's kind of what the issue is. He polarizes on the end, but he never really has a polar range because he only has top set of queens and then maybe like 2 combos of 8-9 for 2-pair plus type of pony.
Yeah.
And then he never really has value hands that block sets. So like it's a very exploitative play, which is why he folds, because generally the mindset here is, okay, I'm going to bet, and since I don't ever arrive here with
worse or better hands,
or like I'm pretty capped when I arrive here, but I think this guy's a recreational and won't bluff jam, I'm going to bet large, targeting his 1 pairs, and when he jams, I'm going to fold. And that's just the general exploitative mindset when you're playing a recreational in these environments, especially at depth. The problem is that like Recs have gotten a lot better at least knowing that blockers exist. Yeah. And sometimes they have a hand like ace jack of diamonds here, or ace 10 of diamonds, or like king 10 of diamonds, or king jack of diamonds, where they just say, fuck you.
Yeah,
I'm all in.
I loved it. It was so amazing.
It's so street. It's amazing that like he had the wherewithal to do that, because it's funny. I think the more natural bluffs there are probably like queen jack, queen 10 suited.
Yeah.
But most people probably just don't, because their brain goes between calling and folding. And, you know, with ace jack of diamonds, it's like generally you face a pot size bet on the end and you're just like, oh, I missed my flush draw. You're only between folding and folding. Right? But like he said, nah, I want to win this fucking pot. This seems like a mistake. Fuck this guy. Yep. Show me queens.
He's like, I got enough behind. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Matt, why is Queen Jack better than Ace Jack?
Because you block top set of queens.
Okay.
Seems very important when that's the only nutted hand Doug can have here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having an ace in hand probably sucks too.
Well, blocking aces is nice. You know, you don't expect him to have it very often. I guess... Yeah, I think like ace jack is like a good combo, because Doug isn't going to be bluffing 3 streets that often with like ace high diamonds. So his diamonds are probably going to be.
Wait.
Maybe having the jack of diamonds isn't great because you want him to have like king jack of diamonds, but it's also nice because you do block jack 10 of diamonds. So maybe ace 10 would be like the better one, but whatever. I mean, we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even so sure that this is a great bluff candidate anyway.
You don't think Doug would have tripled here with ace jack of diamonds?
Possibly, but I don't know. It has a lot of showdown value on turn still. I mean, yeah, if he bets turn, he's gonna have to on the river for sure.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, on turn you just still beat random floats.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a really, really fascinating hand. Really demonstrated like how depth can start to fuck with you. I think the way the hand is actually supposed to be played, in theory land, so to speak, is that Doug just overbets turn like huge. So on river they arrived at what, like 3 pots?
Yeah,
I think. Well, they were like $1 million effective with 200 in the pot. So like 5 pots. Is that right? 4 or 5 pots, right? So I think on turn, Doug actually probably should be going like 200% and then checking back on improved on the river. Because like even if the river, even like board pairs river, so say you get 200% and get called and board pairs, like the deuce or whatever. I still don't think you have a value bet because he just never has kings. You block ace queen, worst queen X can't call. Like
there's no other 2 pairs.
Yeah, you just like basically narrowed him to busted flush draws and sets.
And you just kind of is inducing.
And like his 1 pair hands are just going to check fold because they're bottom of range. You know, it just becomes too thin. The alternative would be that like you can bet small on turn, small on river if you want to make it a 3 street hand. That way you can pretty comfortably get value out of a queen. But I think it's probably just you know, whatever size you choose on flop doesn't really matter, and then big bet turn, check back river, unimproved.
What do we?
You know the crazy part? Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, what do we think about Doug's ultimate decision that it should call 25% of the time and fold 75, so he randomizes with his hand?
I think that's just a random thing he pulled out.
But it's so sick. You know, you're sitting there and you're just like, well, okay, I guess I'm gonna win this hand 75% of the time now.
Sickest part about it is that's not even close to the sickest hand of the date.
No, no, it's not.
This is
I wanted to talk about this before we move on to another hand history, but I felt really bad for what was his name?
Hank,
yeah. Because I don't know anything about him. I don't know his story. I don't know what makes him want to be there. But it was abundantly clear when he was up 700K that this man was done. Like he was sleeping, not nodding off. He was sleeping at the table. Yeah. I mean, there was, bro, this dude, like, okay, I've been here before, man. I've tried to play poker like this before on apps. Like, I know it looks like he's in between, like being awake and asleep. He's not. He is fucking asleep.
Damn, I didn't see that. That's fucking great.
Bro is done.
So he's into crypto, I think. He has something on
Of course he is.
He has something on his Twitter saying,
listen,
Blockfolio, blah, blah, blah.
Every middle-aged Chinese man that's ever been brought into a high-stakes poker stream is always presented as like, oh, this is such and such a businessman from Macau who's into crypto. Yeah. It's like, okay, man. Or, you know, every once in a while, they'll be like, this guy's a race car driver.
Yep.
Like, fuck you. He's not a race car driver. But yeah, like, I wonder if he just felt a responsibility to the stream to stay.
Probably.
Right? Or like didn't realize like he could leave prior to it ending. Or, you know, what I'm getting at is like, I'm glad he stayed because we saw more chaos. But for his sake, I kind of wish he would have just like at midnight been like, guys, I can't anymore. Like I'm literally asleep in between hands. I gotta leave. And I was watching the Queen's hand versus Wesley. We're kind of going a bit out of order here, but I was falling asleep as that hand was going off in real time. And the second Wesley 5-bet, I was just like, oh man, I feel so bad for this guy. Which is crazy because at the time he had the best hand. But I'm just like, I've been in this situation where you're just like playing a wild card that's stuck and might just be losing it, and you're just too tired to do anything sharp here. Like, he has no wits about him at all. So obviously he's just going to call and then call down every time the board is clean. Like, that was just the default to how this hand was going to play out 100% of the time. And then if it came an ace or a king high, he was probably just going to, like, you know, make an error by calling one big bet and, like, folding or, like, you know, over whatever. Like, there was probably going to be a smaller mistake made. But it was just clear that if this was a cooler in any capacity, he was always going to call down. And if, you know, Wesley outflopped him in some capacity, he was going to win money too, because his brain was just, he was dead behind the eyes, man. He just wasn't there. He had queens and he's just like, fuck me. Like, I'm facing a 5-bet. And I think for that reason, and obviously, you know, fatigue and everything else plays into it, but the way the hand played out, he opened hijack, I think Wesley 3-bet the cut. You just can't 4-bet there, man. Like, when you don't have the mental capacity, the bandwidth to be making great decisions, you got to play pot control like 1,700 big blinds effective. You know, you just got to be like, look, I don't want to play a 3.4 million or two. I guess they were less. Wesley was like $1.1 million effective. Still like 1,100 big blinds effective. You're like, I don't want to play $2 million pot with queens. So I'm not going to 4-bet, because if I get 5-bet, then what? Right? And I mean, in reality, jamming might not have been the worst thing. You know, when you have no other thinking capacity available and you have 2 queens and there's already $500,000 in the pot, well, if this is the fate I'm resigned to, this is the fate I'm resigned to. I'm just all in, Wesley. You know, like, sometimes you just gotta do. You got to say to yourself, I shouldn't have fucking 3-bet, but I'm not going to compound it here by fucking up and, you know, trying to go post. Like, YOLO. We do this now. Yep. You want to get even? Call it off. Have ace king and beat me in a flip. You know, like that's kind of the biggest superpower that recreationals possess whenever it comes to these deep stack games where there's a lot of money on the line. Assuming that they can afford it, their true superpower is like slightly overplaying value. And just like putting in a little bit too much money with a little too weak of hands, because our ability to adjust as pros is so it's so unlikely, because we think the exact opposite. We think you're putting money in too tightly, right? So like it's very feasible. Then in that situation, let's say instead of queens he has jacks, and he just like 6-bet rips, and Wesley's holding queens, he's gonna fold. Yeah. You know, you're just going to be like, fuck me. Like, this guy just 6-bet jammed. It's always going to be kings or aces, you know, and you're just going to end up making mistakes. So, like, it truly is. And I realized this playing a lot of years with Bob Bright. He would have these random spurts where, like, he would just stop being a calling station and, like, you know, just start sticking in a 4 and a 5-bet pre. And, you know, you would muck a really good hand fast and confidently. It's like, oh, okay, I have ace king, fuck that. Like, I just muck. And he just shows ace 5 offsuit. So what are you doing, man? And then you get mad, but you're mad at yourself, but you project it onto him. It's like, what are you doing? You know I had better than that. And it's like, well, yeah, he knew you had better than that. And, like, he's just playing up the fact that, like, he calls way too goddamn much. Right. So that was the second biggest pot ever played in televised history. Which, of the top 3 biggest pots ever played, that was the only one that didn't include Durr.
Right. Fucking Durr. Always out there, man.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Durr he's just involved. So, yeah, I mean, like, we're kind of just, like, glossing over this, but that was a $2.1 million pot. Wesley ended up getting very fortunate on an 8-7-5 board, I believe. He c-bet, Hank called. Turn is another 7. It's over. GG.
So then Wesley didn't get hurt super bad last night, right?
Lost just shy of $1 million.
Okay.
And I guess we can talk about that a little bit before we get into another hand. I thought yesterday's show was everything that you could ever ask for from a poker fan standpoint. You had a handful of recognizable names in Polk and Durr, and then obviously the HCL crew. Your Wesley, your Airball, and then you have like the fun, chatty, needly recreationals in Horolibus and Rob. Man, those two are such a fucking tandem. I want Haralabob in every fucking game.
He's the best.
Like, and the thing is, like, neither one of them play a lot of hands, but I just don't care. They're so entertaining to listen to. Like, he's so dry and funny and like subtly condescending, subtly sarcastic and needly.
I was surprised by that because I always thought Haralabob was kind of the guy that just didn't really want to get in the mix, but apparently he's not.
Bro, do you not remember the Robbie J. Lude thing? He's fucking Harry Potter.
I just remember Haralabob from the days ago.
Don't want to be in the mix. He called into Ingram's podcast every single night for like 42 days.
Oh, that's right. He got called Harry Potter or whatever, right?
Yeah. And then Robbie are just like flirting back and forth endlessly on stream. It was incredible. It was a must-watch TV. Honestly, like, I give Hustler a lot of shit, but for the last year, they've just been daytime drama. Or nighttime drama, I guess. Like, it truly has been playing out like a fucking soap opera.
It really has. Like Days
honestly,
of Our Lives poker style.
Bro, it's no joke. It's no joke. Like, dating back to the Jack 4. And I mean, even maybe prior to that with, like, the whole Garrett and the poker bunny thing. And then there were Fridays where, like, the game would literally get three-handed because Garrett wanted every goddamn chip on the table. Yeah. Like, that then transitioned into the Jack 4 drama, which carried us into the new year, which now came with an investigation of this Brian Sigsbee guy who worked there and stole, and like that then carries us right into the first set of I guess was it the influencer game that happened next?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the influencer game, and then followed by the Keating JRB game where JRB won $1 million, so they had their first $1 million winner. Right. And then the whole time, like, Vertucci's launching a podcast and, you know, just saying all kinds of out of pocket shit and going on an apology. Literally a baker's dozen of people he's offered a truce to at this point.
Well, Vertucci's in the
Vertucci's
in the import export business, if you know what I mean.
I mean, it's just incredible, right? Like, it's gotten to the point where the shtick is so fucking funny. He's coming into spaces where Huss and Wesley are arguing. He goes, guys, I'm just saying, why don't we offer an olive branch here? You know, maybe we just call it a truce between you two.
The guy loves olive branches.
No, it's just, I mean, honestly, like, I'm poking fun, but it's never ending content, man. It just continually flows one into the next. So then we have this Huss and Wesley build up where they're just like beaking at each other, and like that was fucking entertaining to watch. And that game was like good, but I don't remember any big hands. I mean, granted, most of everything is from last night, but like, what was the biggest hand that was played that night?
I just remember the drama.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I just remember the drama. Huss won a ton of fucking money, but the Rampage hand.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to shut out my man Ethan. Like, he did a great job. You know, they build the Ace Jack Hank hand as being bigger than the Rampage bluff, bro.
Bro.
Hands folded the effective fucking nuts,
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
Versus Rampage.
I mean,
Doug folded one pair. Let's not go overboard here.
I think he got hurt a little bit because he had a little chunk of Doug.
Who?
Ethan.
Oh yeah, he told me that.
They swapped.
He goes, "This is not what I signed up for." I'm like, yeah, who would have thought you were taking the worst of that one? Jesus,
Can't win them all.
Oh man, yeah, that's a
bad
big
beat.
window. He lost 1.2. Rampage won 600K. So Rampage owes on 1.
600?
Wait, no.
He won.
No.
If he lost 1.2 and Rampage won 600, then he owes on.
He owes on 1.8. When you swap, it's like you buy. It's like you buy the action off of one another. Right? So Doug had 5% of Ethan.
Yeah, and Ethan had 5% of Doug.
Correct.
Oh wait, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. So he owes on 1.8. Ain't fun, cuz.
That's not fun.
Not fun.
Yeah. That's 90,000 he'll never see again.
Maybe you can swap with him in the 25K if he comes played.
Yeah.
WSOP.
Yeah, I mean, he likes taking the worst of it.
Any notables in the 25K that made it to day 2?
I didn't. Do you think I look after I bust, man? I don't give a
Sorry.
fuck.
Everybody made it day
I don't
two, man.
give a fuck. Yeah, you can still go buy in.
Yeah, lots of people.
But yeah, like last night, last night was a culmination of what every single stream game hopes to be. Big money being exchanged, big pots, big bluffs, big hands, ton of table talk, a lot of banter. There was a lot of like back and forth. And then the wildest thing of all, right? The biggest pot ever fucking played has this little twist to it where not only is it the stand-up game, which is going to fuck ranges ever so slightly, but somehow, some way, the person who loses the hand accidentally exposed his cards to Doug.
God, that was so good.
Let's cue that up.
A lot of cards could have gone very well. But that was
I saw your hand. Saw someone's hand?
7.
I saw Wesley's hand.
That 5,000 player then?
fine. You got a fold, right?
I haven't looked at my hand. I know what you have. It's a weird spot.
30.
I'm just gonna.
Well, if you're gonna play, then
I fold. Just I'm.
Oh, switch.
He already
know
did.
what you have.
I know what you have.
You've seen it already.
What?
sorry.
30 to go right now.
Yep.
How are you?
I know. You know what? Thank you. You know what? You make a good point. You make a good point.
I don't think he understands. Paying 6K, isn't it?
Is going to 4-bet.
Yeah, you're paying 42K.
Oh, but do you have the yellow card?
Never lost it.
He bet from Wesley to 30,000. Tom Dwan, who according to DGAF earlier has been playing a pretty low variant style, has decided to 4-bet to 100,000, and these players are deep. And Doug is watching because he knows what Wesley has, and Wesley has just 5-bet.
Pounds? 20,000 pounds or 50,000.
And there's the call from Dwan.
I played $1 million a month.
8-8-3, 2 diamonds out there. Wesley does have the ace of diamonds. There's the call from Dwan. Wesley's hands are shaking. And it looks like he is loading up for another bet. And still a river to come. And there's the call. The river's a 6. Wesley with just ace high.
Check.
Dwan checks it one more time.
All in.
There's the all-in.
You said all in?
He said all in.
For sure? Well, I guess.
Said on.
Okay.
There's the call.
Hey, call?
Call.
Tom Dwan has just won the
God,
biggest.
what a sick hand
Man.
that was, man.
All you have to look, it goes to show. I know this is going to be maybe a somewhat unpopular take,
Okay.
but nit shaming is
It's right where it should
it
be.
fucking works.
It damn sure
that
does.
had to play a part in what he was
100%.
thinking.
I'll be
man.
honest with you, like think about it. Like he probably runs that like a large amount of percentage of the time. That hand exactly, that gets ran, I think, even though being a nit. Like that just gets ran,
Yeah.
bro. Like it just gets ran.
It shouldn't though.
You don't
Having the ace of diamonds is really bad there.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons why like it shouldn't get ran at full frequency.
But
Yeah, like we can get into that. But I think the culmination of him being nit shamed, plus it being the stand-up game, plus Doug having seen his hand,
yeah.
the latter being the biggest amplifying factor, I think like he was never not running it there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Shout out to Tom for never putting his cards on the reader. What a genius.
I
What
know.
a fucking genius,
The
bro.
biggest pot of all time, and we're all waiting with bated breath to see what he has.
A genius, bro. He just has his cards to the side just in case.
The thing is that like,
He's just protect himself.
I mean, I think anybody watching once the flop gets called understands that Tom probably almost certainly has like queens or kings.
Yeah.
Which in reality he actually probably should have like queens or aces. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at that depth if kings should be like 6 betting or not. With stand-up game, I feel like the answer is just yes.
Yeah.
But versus Wesley, I feel a little less confident. You know, like even with the nit shaming, even with like the thing was that Doug made it seem pretty clear that Wesley had a good hand.
Yeah.
Like the beginning part is so funny when he's like,
so weird,
he's like, sweat me, and he's like, I already saw your cards. He's like, yep. Same hand.
I thought that shit was so funny.
So, yeah, it's like that's kind of hilarious, and it's like when that happens now, maybe you play trap a little bit more with kings because you don't expect like that reaction to be ace queen or like definitely not like ace 5 suited or anything along those lines, right? So like you're a little less concerned about the ace popping off and you being in bad shape. But then again, like, you know, he might just have queens a lot more, and maybe it's worth. I don't know, man, because like depth really comes down to the player persona so fucking much, and trying to figure out like what the likelihood of these outlier events occurring are based off of the way this one specific person's thinking about it, right? Like you just don't get a range the way that you do at 100 bigs and say like, okay, this is where we stack off. These are the hands that need protection. These are the hands that trap.
Yeah, I'm curious on like if Doug just waits till after the hand by saying, "Hey, I saw your hand," or like he just looks at his hand.
The reason he didn't is because
that's the thing.
That's what he should have done.
Yeah, you look at your hand, see if you're going to fold, especially when you're next act. It's just like, okay, I can look at your hand, see if I'm going to fold. If I fold, whatever, just tell him after.
Tell him after that, right.
But he told him immediately, which turned this whole into fucking chaos.
Yeah.
I loved.
And it's weird because it's the stand-up game. I think Doug was trying to like be honest without like demonstrating an angle in any capacity.
No, of course. He was just...
Right, but the thing is, like, if you look at your hand and you just say like, oh, I know he has ace-king and I have 10-2 suited, fuck this guy, it's a stand-up game, I'm going to outplay him based off of perfect information. Yeah. Like he could have just done that. Yeah, but instead he announced it and Wesley was like, I don't give a fuck. I still have ace king and I raise. And then Doug's like, okay, now I'm in a weird spot. Like I know exactly what you have, but it also it's kind of sharp because like now it puts this burden of guilt on Doug where like he can't be like the whole viewing audience knows that he knows what he has and knows what he knows what Wesley has and hasn't looked at his hand yet. So now if he looks at 10-2 suited and says like, I'm going to take that information and fuck you with it, everybody watching is going to be like, okay, Doug's the biggest piece of shit on earth. Like,
it's true.
You could have just been courteous and muck there, you know?
It's funny because I've been in that spot too, like when I've seen somebody's hand, I'm like next act, and I feel like I've always did exactly what Doug did. Yeah. Like immediately say it.
I actually think it might be best.
And right after, I'm like, why the fuck didn't I just wait to look at my hand?
No, I think actually thinking about it a little bit more, what he did is best. And then what you do is if you have a hand that continues versus perfect information, like say he has sevens. Yeah. You just continue with sevens and then you make a deal.
Okay.
Right. You just check it down. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you basically don't take it to a point where you can leverage the information any further.
Yeah, you just leverage it to the point of like, hey,
like I have a hand that's a fair hand. Yeah. Based off of what you have. The only bit of a free roll you get there, I guess, is like if he looks down at ace queen, he's just gonna fold.
Yeah.
Whereas like,
but that's also, I mean, that's on Wesley.
It's on Wesley, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
right. I agree.
You're not being scumbag. That's on him. Like,
yeah, it's just a double-edged sword because if he looks down at sevens, he's probably folding most of the time. But because it's a stand-up game, he's not always going to fold. Therefore, he gets to lean into that. Anyway, we're putting way too much emphasis on a tiny little detail. That was so insane. Like that little added layer, but. I can't get over, like, nit shaming fucking works, man.
It's great.
It's the truth. Honest to God, it's the truth. Like, Wesley was clearly very upset to be called a nit, to have his play called into question. And he was definitely looking for spots to mix it up a little bit more. Now, granted, he had way better card distribution. And he had some hands to get involved with. But, I think that the biggest issue that allows this bluff to fail is that it's unlikely Wesley's linear enough in his 5-bet range.
Yeah, like he doesn't have 8-7 really.
Right.
He doesn't have,
Right, like they're what? It was a $3.1 million pot.
1.6.
So they're 1,600 big blinds effective. Bro, you need to 5-bet the way that you would 3-bet in a normal pot construction.
Yeah.
Right? maybe slightly tighter, obviously, because like Durr's not 4-betting that wide.
You got a 5-bet the way you 3-bet.
That doesn't sound fun.
Like he needs coverage on 8-8. He needs some nutted hands that aren't just aces on 8-8-3.
Yeah, no, that's what Dwan was saying. Like when he was tanking,
right?
He's like, he should have. Like, I'm gonna hate myself if he has like 8-7 or something. But I think he came to the conclusion he just doesn't have those hands.
Never. And I mean, like that's not even an indictment against Wesley. It's just people don't think about depth very often.
Yeah, this isn't just Wesley. I think a lot of people this applies to.
Especially pre-flop though, like they don't really think about depth and like how far you can fucking take it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't looked at 1700 big blind ring ranges.
Well, why not?
But like I can guarantee you're going to see a sprinkle of everything because you're only committing like 10% of your chips. Like all in is just not threatened at that point. There's room for 6 and 7 betting to take place, and the funneling doesn't really start to take into effect. And the fact of the matter is, Tom could have some 8x.
Yeah,
he definitely could just cold 4 a hand like 10-8 suited, a hand like 8-7 suited. Less so 9-8. Like we know that has problems, specifically against Ace King in these inflated pots. But like he could find some 8x.
I'm sorry. What was the size on the 5-bet? Like.
Man, great question. I think he went to 175, but it might have been 225.
What was the 4-bet?
4-bet would have been so it went 20. I think 4-bet went 60 or no. 4-bet was 100. That's right. It was 100 to 250.
Okay.
Damn.
So deep too.
So deep. So deep.
It's like would Tom Peel with the 8-7 here, 9-8 suited, like.
Right, like they're still going to get to a flop and be like 3+ SPR. That's kind of standard for 100 big blind 3-bet pot.
Yeah.
Or I guess
Sick, man.
I guess maybe closer to a 4-bet pot, but still, basically it's reducing at 1 degree. So like with those sizes, they're not that deep. Those sizes are still pretty big. And maybe there was a straddle. I think there might have been a straddle on. That's why.
Be in a 5-bet pot and still be that deep, that's pretty deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Deep. Well, that's the thing is I think that there was probably a straddle on, so there were actually like 850 big blinds effective instead.
Okay.
But even still, like a little less linear now in your 5-bet range. But like now when you polarize, you're not going to polarize with the Ace-5 suited so much. You'd much prefer to have connectors. Like you'd much prefer to have 5-4, I think, as the 5-better.
God,
different as the 4-better.
I play MTTs. I could not even imagine putting a 5-bet in with 5-4 suited.
Bro, you just got to.
It's unfortunate. It sounds like so much fun.
You just got to do it sometimes. And I think like sizing wise, he probably wants to be a little bit more clicky there, like 225 instead of like 250 or maybe even just 200. Whatever, we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
But the whole point is that like if he doesn't have those linear hands, then his value is only aces and kings. And I'm not even positive kings pure jams because aces should be trapping in Durr's range at some frequency, if not always. So now whenever he arrives at the river jam, by the time we get that far in a triple offline,
he just has nutted hands.
It should just be like, and truth of the matter is like, I don't even think playing 3 streets on this board with that tight of a range makes sense because you don't have hands that need protection, right? On 8-8-3, kings really wants to bet twice. Your bluffs, if they're ace king, only really want to bet twice. And aces can be all in by betting twice. Like, if they arrive at flop with 3 SPR, 3E is half pot, I think. 2E is like 66% pot. So, like, you can pretty easily, if you want to turn it into a 3-street game, I guess you could go third. But it just could also function where you go like quarter check jam or pot, or you check back flop. You could very easily just check back flop with range.
Yeah.
Right? Protects your ace king a lot if that's truly your bottom and you have no other linear hands. And it allows you to just get 2 later streets. Anyway,
the money gets all in regardless.
The whole point I'm trying to say is that this is not it's not a by default 3-street game.
Yeah.
it could certainly be reduced to 2 with a lot of Wesley's range, assuming that it lacks that polarized bottom. Because ace king is like really difficult to call the stone bottom of a range whenever you're at 3 SPR. Like you're just fucked on so many boards if that's the case. Because there are going to be boards where like you're completely devoid of bluffs. You know, if you see like a queen jack 10 board, for example, you're totally devoid of bluffs and you never have sets. So it's like you're capped at your ace king straight. So now with like boards pair and shit like that, your aces and kings feel trashy. And your ace king also feels trashy, right? Yeah. And then there's going to be other boards where, like, you know, you're going to be relatively devoid of low equity bluffs. So, like, if it's just a jack 10 high board, you're going to have the overpairs and ace king. It's going to be really difficult for queens to want to put it in, that type of shit. Anyway, the whole point that I'm getting at is that because of that, because of the fact that Tom does have traps, because of the fact that he might even have an 8 some of the time, I think him picking up on Wesley's timing tell is a really, really key insight to this hand. And it's very keen and sharp by Tom, who's, you know, a 20-year vet. Yeah. Wesley acts, I know we chopped up the edit there, but Wesley acted very quickly on the end. Yeah, super quick. Very fast. Check, 1 beat, 2 beat, I'm all in. And Durr literally had to confirm, like, did he say all in? Yeah. She's like, he said all in. He's like,
are you
like
sure?
That fast? Are you sure? That quickly? He said all in?
I'll put my cards on the reader now.
Right. And it's like, okay, it could be aces, which there are 6 combos of, but it's probably not kings at that speed because kings might not even necessarily want to jam. It might just want to give up and you know, be happy with the pot.
Kind of just wants to think for a moment.
It's like pulling off the Band-Aid, right? It's like you want to get rid of all this anxiety and just be like, all right, fuck it, let's get it over with.
Right.
Like, let's just be done with it and get it in.
But thought is really necessary for both your bluffs and your value there, unless you just don't care about the outcome. And the problem with this is now if he only has aces for the value jam and there's no way he can balance the ace kings. If he has all 16 combos and just removes like ace king of diamonds is like, I'm never going to bluff busted diamonds. He still has 15 bluffs. He's massively over bluffing in a spot where he's only betting half pot. You know, Tom's getting laid 3-1. He only needs to call and be right here. What 25% of the time, right? Yeah. So Wesley needs this to work a third of the time, but he's over bluffing by like 3x the combos, right? So he's just torching here if he's running this all the time, and it's such an abstract, low frequency. When is this ever going to happen again? Kind of spot, but he has a negative blocker, I think, in the ace of diamonds. Like Tom's going to be wide enough in his 4-bet range, especially with the stand-up game, where I think you want him to have busted diamonds. Yeah. Just have him have a hand like, you know, ace queen of diamonds that peels one. Or even ace king of diamonds himself. You know, you want to be able to push him off that chop some of the time because that's the only ace king Tom could have that arrived at this point. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a brutal, brutal fucking hand for Wesley. Brutal spot. And, you know, we didn't talk about it all that much with the Doug hand, but like Doug played that 5-4 remarkably well.
That's what I thought too.
And I think that like Durr's long tank on the end, Durr said he was considering jamming, which I think he probably was, or at least that's a reasonable thing to say. But man, his facial expressions the whole time on the river looked like he was a man torn between calling and folding.
He was just sick. He was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Like, you know, he's just like, he looks like he was between calling and folding, but I'm pretty sure he thought about all three. Everything there.
Yeah. It's like, just like, you know, folding is literally never an option.
Obviously. Here. But, you know, it's like, what the fuck does this guy have here? Like, this is
5 high, bro.
I mean,
the man said he wanted to come and be the biggest loser in Hustler history. You give him the opportunity to be the biggest loser in Hustler history.
You ain't lying, but, you know.
I mean, if he had King 6 or 6-7 here, I think that Tom would have been absolutely sick. Which I guess, to be fair, he could not have 6-7 because Tom's combo plus the board blocks it all. So there's no combos of 6-7 left, and there's only one combo of King 6 left. So I mean, I understand not jamming. You know, Doug could have kings maybe some of the time. Probably doesn't have deuces. So whatever. It's really close. I think it's still probably a jam. Because Doug might just have 6x of diamonds that's in hell and may find a call off. In which case, like, you'd be really remiss not to stack ace 6 of diamonds there, for instance.
Sure.
But yeah, man, what a night.
Shit.
What a stream.
It was a sick night, man.
What an amazing time to be alive in poker.
You ain't lying.
I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, last night put on a grand stage that cash actually is it's possible to pursue the cash dream again, right? For a decade, maybe two, tournaments have been in the forefront where, like, if you want the big money, you got to fire the MTTs. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, but we're talking about like a very niche.
It is niche.
Very niche
for sure.
market. Very, very niche
for
market.
sure. But so are the super high rollers.
Yeah.
They're pretty out of touch.
Yeah, it just seems like there's more willing to play those.
But outside of playing super high rollers, you only have the main event. So I think last night was very comparable to like the main event.
Yeah.
You know, it's this one-off event that's massive, and yeah, it's going to take a lot of. But like we saw Rampage in there.
I mean,
Mariano could have played that lineup last night, I'm sure, if he wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, these guys were vlogging 1-2 during the pandemic.
Man, these massive 10Ks that are just one-offs, pretty sick.
Yeah.
Pretty sick, you know.
The 10 million you're talking about?
I mean, we can talk about the 10
what are you talking
million,
about?
Or we got our friend Landy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I fucked it up, didn't I? You didn't.
I didn't realize
it was over.
I had no idea that's where you were going.
Okay. Well, any extras is in the building. Our boy Landy. He final tabled the Scoop 10K main. Unfortunately, he got fucked.
He did get properly fucked.
Pretty unfortunate. Dude, what did he come in with? 28 big blinds today?
Yeah, he almost went coast to coast. He had the chip lead after, I think he was like fourth in chips after day one. He had the chip lead after day two. The chip lead was yesterday day three?
Yes.
Yeah, so he had the chip lead most of yesterday down to like 24 people. He had like 185 blinds with like 24 people left. And then he ran it with zero equity in a spot. On 7-7-6-6 deuce with 10-3 blind versus button, and just ran right into the king 7.
Ooh,
knocked him back a peg.
Oh yeah, real humble.
But yeah,
that moment.
he was 10 of 10. Found a double on the bubble. I like that double bubble. Found a double on the bubble. Got up to 28 bigs. Ended up coming in 9 of 9, which 28 bigs to be ninth place is fucking piles. And then he just gets the aces 15 minutes into day 4 or whatever. Gets it in versus queens and
rest is history.
Properly doom switched.
Absolutely unbearable. How does that happen?
I don't know, but he told me before the event he was going to win it. I immediately took 30%. I just believed, man. I just absolutely believed. I thought he was truly going to win it. I wish, man, I was already counting 4th place money. I woke up.
You told me that this morning.
Yeah, I didn't know what time it started this morning. I figured I would wake up and like it would already be going. I was like, I'm just going to wake up and there's going to be 5 left. I know I'm going to be guaranteed 150K at least.
You just know?
Well, I mean,
rough life.
You know when you're plucking fucking bounties. I know when Landon's going to finish top 10 apparently.
Well, no, you said top 5.
I know what I fucking said, Conrad.
Okay, just making sure.
That's going to do it for us. Conrad's itching to get out of here and go play this mystery bounty.
We got to get it popping, baby.
I got some things to do. We'll be back tomorrow. I swear to God, we're going to get one of these things off at 10:30 a.m. It really does fall on my shoulders, though, because I didn't have cash to play today, so we can go a little bit later. But I think tomorrow we're going to be on time, barring another $3 million hand being played on stream in the next 24 hours. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the Hustler stream last night. Let us know what events you're going to be playing for the WSOP. We'll see you guys all here tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Pacific.
Later, squad.